Hello there, lovelies. Hello. So, this is part 2 of a 2-part series. I will share the other video if you haven't seen it already. Part 1 was about creating the vision, knowing where you want to go in life, and today is creating that plan. So, this is the area that I really love to spend time in, because it feels more tangible, but also because I'm really great at breaking down these plans and helping my clients create something that looks and feels really great to them. So if you didn't watch part 1 yet, I'm just going to recap for you real quick. Part 1, we talked about creating the vision for your life. What do you want your life to look like? When you can get crystal clear on that, it makes it so much easier to do this part. So I hope that you've spent some time thinking about what you want your life to look like, because the life that you want is never going to be created passively. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to get there by chance. All right, it's going to be a very small, slim chance, kind of like winning the lottery. And I would rather play with better odds. So playing with better odds means I know where I want to go, and today we're going to talk about how to get there. All right? So thank you so much if you're joining me. If you've watched this video, you like it, comment, share, subscribe, all the things, okay? Because I just want to make sure that I am giving to you that which has been given to me. So we are going to dive in here on how to make it happen. So you've got the plan, or you've got the vision rather, and today we're going to work on creating that plan. So this is one part where I see people get pretty excited about it at the beginning, because they're like, absolutely, this plan's going to work. It's going to be great, right? And then somewhere along the way, they trip themselves up. And so I want to help you create a life-proof plan, all right? And by saying life-proof, I mean that regardless of what comes at you in life, you can continue to move forward with what it is that you want to create. So again, I want you to get really clear on your vision, and then we're going to dive in here into creating that plan. So let's say part of your vision, okay, your $1 million version of you, however you want to do that exercise, the vision that you want to create for your life includes having your own business. This is a great one. This is a big one. This is one that people strive for a lot, mainly because of the freedom that it provides, right? Where you can work from home, you can do your job anywhere, right? It really creates that freedom for you to create a very expansive life. Now, this isn't for everybody, but let's take this one for example, and then I'll take another one in a minute, right? If you have an idea for your vision and you want to share it below, I'd be happy to break that down for you. So when it comes to this, you've got the vision, right? This is a perfect one, right? So I do this vision planning exercise with my clients, and I recently did it with my older brother. He is a very successful businessman, and he said, hey, I want you to break down this vision for me. I said, perfect, let's do it. So part of his vision, when I help people create their vision, it involves different areas of their lives. So business, financial, spiritual, health and nutrition, personal, joy is one that I like to bring in there, relationships, right? Like your marriage, those kinds of things. And so, I would love to help you with this. We will definitely break it down. If you can share a little bit of that vision, I will help you break it down for sure. So when it comes to this, for instance, my brother, he had on his vision board for last year that he wanted to golf, I don't know, I think it was like 100 rounds of golf, right? And we had to get very clear on this. What was considered a complete round of golf? And because for me, I'm like, shoot, if I play 9 holes, that's a full round of golf for me. For him, it's 18. So 18 holes is a round of golf for him. And I said, okay, great. I said, do you know how many rounds of golf you played last year? And he said, no, I don't, but I think I was somewhere around 70. I said, okay, great. I said, how did that feel to you initially? And he was like, well, it didn't feel like enough, but sometimes it felt like too much. Okay, fine. I said, okay, so you want to play 100 rounds of golf this year, and that includes, oh, hold on, there we go, we're back. Okay, so what it essentially looks like is he's going to play 2 rounds of golf per week, right? That's essentially what it boils down to. Now, for some people, they might go, I don't know that I could do that, right? But that's not part of your vision. This was part of my brother's vision when we were breaking it down. So 2 rounds of golf per week. I said, okay, great. He said, well, I know that I can't golf here in New England during the cold months, right? And so I said, okay, so there's going to be a couple of months where you have to golf elsewhere. He said, yep, absolutely. I said, okay, how long does it take you to play 18 holes? Well, there's a golf course by his house, and he can get there first thing in the morning. My brother's an incredible golfer, and so he's not the one who's searching and hunting for balls regularly. I mean, he can play 18 holes in about 2 hours. I said, okay, cool. So we laid out this whole plan on how he could play essentially 2 rounds of golf per week. Now, there were some weeks where he played more than 2 rounds of golf because, let's say, he was on vacation or he was at a work event or whatever it was, right? He got very close to 100 rounds of golf last year. He got, I want to say, like 92 rounds of golf in last year. And so this year we revamped it just a little bit more. And so he made it an intention because this is what he enjoys, he loves to do. So he set the intention. And part of that intention was spending more time in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, so that he could get in more golf, right? And so it's about setting the intention once you have that vision. So another example here, right? Part of this, when it comes to your vision, if you want to share your vision, I would love to be able to help you with that execution on it. So when it comes to the vision and executing it, I'm going to share a couple of examples in my own life because personal examples are really great here. So when it came to my vision for completing my PhD, this nice piece of paper behind here, right? I started my PhD program when I was a mom of 2. My older 2 kids were 5 and 3 at the time, I believe, when I started my PhD program. And it was coursework. I was used to coursework. I'm used to getting the rubric and the assignments and being able to check it off the list. I love checking things off the list, right? So really great at that. When it came time to actually start the dissertation process, which is essentially writing a book for your PhD, it was a little less clear as the direction to get there because there was no rubric, there was nobody checking in, it was very self-paced, and this is what I thrived off of, okay? It was up to me, the failure and the success was all mine, okay? So when I finished my coursework, I was 36 weeks pregnant with baby number 3. All right, so finished my coursework, passed my exams, and I started the dissertation process. Now, I had never, ever, ever, ever written a dissertation before, but I did have the wherewithal that I knew how to write a paper because I was a professional student, essentially, right? I have 2 master's degrees and a PhD. So I love school. I know how to write papers and I can write them very, very quickly. Okay, so I said, okay, well, the dissertation is a bigger paper. I had confidence that I could complete a paper, and so I had confidence that I could complete a dissertation even though I had never, ever completed a paper before. I'm going to break this down for you with another goal in a second, but this is a really good visual, right? So I had never done it before, but I knew realistically that as a mom with 2 kids and another baby on the way coming soon, there were going to be a lot of sleepless nights. And I am not the type of person who will overcommit myself because that leads to burnout. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, don't like it. Okay. And so I knew that when I was starting writing the dissertation process, I had to be very honest about how much time I could actually spend on this thing. Okay, and this is the part that starts to trip people up because we think, Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm going to spend so much time on this thing because I'm so excited. I have so much energy for it right now. And then 3 weeks down the road, you're burned out because you're spent all of your energy. And you're like, well, that sucked. I didn't like it at all. And I knew that the dissertation process was not a sprint at all. Most of the things that we go after in life are not sprints, they are marathons. And so sprinting to get there, you're very tired after a mile of sprinting if you're trying to run 26 miles. Okay, very tired. You're done. Like you're tapped out. You're not doing 26 sprinting. Okay, just promise that. And so I got very honest with myself and I said, okay, based off of my current schedule, how much time can I actually commit to building this dissertation? Because that's what it was. It was a building process. With any of our visions, you are building it in different phases. You are building your vision. Okay? You're building on what worked last year, or maybe sometimes you have to take down your whole foundation because you're like, well, that sucked. I can't do that. That's not working. You have to rebuild. So you're building up on this. So building my dissertation, what did that look like? For me, realistically, I said, well, I absolutely do not want to have to work on my dissertation on Friday or Saturdays. Not Fridays or Saturdays, Saturday or Sunday. I said, it's not happening. All 3 kids are home. And when my husband was home and not on deployment, we just spent the weekend together. Okay? So I did not want to have to write. It was not part of the plan. I didn't like it, had no desire to do it. So what was my next plan? I said, okay, so I'm going to write during the week. Great. What is feasible during the week on a regular basis? Because 2 of my kids were in school. The baby was still home with me, right? So just to give you a picture of this, I'm talking like fall of 2015. So finished the coursework. My 2 older ones were in school. The little one was still home with me because she was a baby, right? She was 5-6 months old. She was on a good sleep schedule though. And great nap routine because mom thrives with a nap routine. And so I said, okay, I can realistically do 1 hour a day, Monday through Friday. Realistically, that's what I could commit to. And so that's how I completed my dissertation. It was 1 hour a day, Monday through Friday. Some days it was the full hour. Other days it was only 15 minutes, depending on what I could actually work on. But I was building on my dissertation regularly. So with your vision, it's a building process. How are you building it regularly? How are you stacking the things upon itself so that you're actually making daily progress? Okay. So another prime example, right? I decided to do a half Ironman triathlon last year. And if you're unfamiliar with a triathlon, it is a swim, a bike, a run in one race. You're doing all 3 of those things in one race. A half Ironman is 70.3 miles. So it's a pretty intense thing. It's 1.2 mile swim, followed by a 56-mile bike ride and a 13.1 mile run, right? So it's pretty intense. It's a lot of effort. And I decided this was my vision, was to compete in the half Ironman. Now, when I was putting together that vision, I had to take into account all of the other things that were going on in life, right? As a mom, as a wife, as a business owner, as a whatever, right? I really got very honest with how much time I could actually commit to this plan when it was realistic, right? Now, there are some seasons where said plan is not realistic, right? Like right now, I really don't feel like training for a half Ironman. So I'm not going to do a half Ironman because the amount of training is really not cohesive with the rest of my life right now. Will I train for a triathlon? Yeah, I'll probably do one this summer or late in the fall when I start to get my rhythm and my groove and the warm weather back. I just really didn't want to run in the cold weather this year, just full disclosure. And so what I did was I said, okay, I want to complete this half Ironman. What does a plan for a half Ironman look like? So I went to the experts. I went to the people who have already completed a half Ironman. I read a book about how to compete in the half Ironman. I found a plan for how to compete in a half Ironman. This is the beauty of other people in your world. Chances are other people in your world have completed and achieved something that you're wanting to do. Don't reinvent the wheel. Borrow from their plan. The people who say, this is exactly how I built a 6-figure business per month, right? Or this is exactly how I built $1 million business. When you get their blueprints, that's like sitting on a pot of gold. Because what you do is you take what you love from that thing for that plan. Okay? I talk about this a lot because it's so powerful and so important. So when it came to that triathlon plan, it was a 12-week plan, swimming, biking, running. Some days was a brick workout where you were biking and then running. Some days it was swimming and weights. And so I took that plan and I said, okay, based off of this plan, what does it look like for my current schedule? And I adapted their exact plan to fit my life. The exact plan. But it was adapted. So that meant I switched some of the days of the workouts because I could work out and do a brick workout this day. Swimming was not realistic that day, but it was realistic on a Tuesday and a Thursday and a whatever day, right? I adapted that plan. So if you have this vision and you're not entirely sure how to execute it, this is where I really want to encourage you to spend some time. You can certainly message me. I would love to help you break down the execution of this, right? I love this so much because I have this unique gift where I can see, thank you, where I can see the top priority of the vision that will create kind of a domino effect, if that makes sense. So when I work with my clients, I will, before we even get started, and this is when I work with my private clients, group programs are very different. Not very different, but they're different. And when I work with my private clients, I initially send them a goal setting guide, okay? Now, it's a goal setting guide in the sense that I want you to just visualize, right? So I should really just change it to a vision setting guide, where I have you look at those different key areas of your life and where you want to go, right? And then on the flip side, I have you reflect on where you are currently in those areas, right? And when I can see your vision and where you are currently, I have this unique ability to, yes, I would love all of it. Yes, send it all to me. I have this unique ability to say, okay, this is the thing that needs to be worked on first, and then all of those other dominoes will fall into place, right? So, for instance, when it comes to growing your business, what I do recommend is, one, being clear on that vision, right? But the part of the vision that is most important is what you want your life to look like, not so much what you want your business to look like. Because most of us grew up in a lifestyle and a whatever where you worked to live, or rather you lived to work instead of worked to live, right? It's a little backwards. And so what I do when I set my vision for the week, the month, the day, the year, whatever it is, I look at what is it that I really want to get out of this life, and how do I fit my business into it? Okay, so this we could dive into a whole nother video on this, which would be really fun. Actually, I think I might do it. But what I do recommend is, once you get clear on that vision, spend some time looking at, one, the ways you've already created success, because that's going to show you how you can create more success, right? And then the other side of this too is, once you've created that success, okay, I just totally lost my train of thought. We're going to be fine. So you've got the vision. You want to put together that plan. So look at how you've created success in the past and then get really clear on what you want your success to look like long term. Okay? So this is something that I see a lot of new business owners do. This is that burnout kind of stage, right? I remember talking to a health and fitness coach about this one day, and she said, well, I know that I really want to help people with their health and fitness. And I said, okay, that's great. How many hours a week do you want to work? And she was like, well, I mean, when I'm making enough money, I'd like to just work part-time hours. And I said, okay. I said, work those part-time hours now. And she was like, well, I can't, I'm building my business. And I said, you're going to do yourself a huge disservice if you don't set up those boundaries around your time now. Okay? Because what would happen, and this is something I see so often, is we say, okay, I'm going to build a business, and I know that I need to put in more effort now in the building stages because it's in the new stages, and later on I can just kind of coast. And so I see people say, well, I'm going to spend 40 hours a week growing my business. And I go, okay, do you want to work 40 hours a week long term? And they're like, well, no, I really just only want to work 20 hours a week. Okay, so start with 20 hours a week. But I'm growing my business. I know. But start with 20 hours a week because that's all you want to do. So why would you do more now? Well, because I want to get there faster. Doesn't work that way. That's like saying, I'm going to run a marathon in 3 months, but I'm going to go run the marathon today. Doesn't work that way. You've got to build on it. So if you want to have $1 million business, a 6-figure business, a multi-6-figure business, whatever, you want to make $10,000 months, $20,000 months, whatever it is, how much time do you want to commit long-term to that vision? And I hear a lot of arguments here. Well, so-and-so was working 70 hours a week when they first started their business. Yeah. I had several mentors who were working 70 hours a week when they first started their businesses. And they were so unbalanced and out of harmony because all they were doing was working. Did their business grow a little bit faster? Maybe. But they were burnt out and they certainly weren't enjoying it. And so this is where I really thrive in setting that boundary there, is saying, okay, I've got 20 hours a week. How am I going to make it happen? Because I don't want to spend more than 20 hours a week. I want life with my kids, and I want life while my kids are in school. So how do I make the tasks that it will take to grow my business, how do I make those tasks take 10 hours a week, essentially, right? This is a very beautiful model when you break it down. So I'm going to save that breakdown for another video where I really go into more detail about what that looks like in terms of growing a successful business in part-time hours, okay? So I am sending you so much love. I hope you enjoyed this video. And I'm going to finish this video with a line that is so desperately needed right now. And it was how I initially started ending all of my Facebook Lives. I have it hanging up on the wall there, and I'm going to finish with, be you, because the world needs more of you. Bye, love. Yes.